Hello out there. There we are. Hi, it's me. Friendly neighborhood guy. This would light up a little bit better than that, but not by much. Let's try a different color. Is that better? Nope, not really. Okay, let's try this. Oh, a bit better. Alright. So, I just got back from Ready Player One, and it's a mixed bag. Just putting it out there to you. It is such a mixed bag. On the one hand, it's a entertaining show. On the other hand, it is lacking so much from the book. Just letting you know. So, in case you're wondering what this is, it's one of those light up fake ice cubes from Disneyland. Like finding things on the floor. Apparently, somehow they fall out of people's drinks or whatever. So I have like a couple of these. Anyway, but I can understand it's a transition from one medium to the next, so you have to edit. This is an 18-hour audiobook I have on my phone. So trust me when I say yowza. Now, my phone, see this phone right here. And there is a couple of scenes I have issue with. Okay, on the whole, the movie on its own, it is a darn good film. The thing I have a problem with is that it has, editorial issues and scenes that don't make sense. Such as, okay, there we go. How's that? Better? There's a scene in the book where Parzival, after the explosion in the stacks, he goes and lives in the city for a while and puts himself in isolation for, it feels like 4 months, something like that. Not because he's antisocial, it's because he's solely dedicated to the hunt, which then gets supplanted by his love for Artemis, which then he gets invited to the Distracted Globe on Cobalt, on the corner of the Avenue and the Boulevard. And he goes there, dances with Artemis, and that's when he confesses his love. And so that makes sense because they go out on these pseudo dates, so this has built up. This is coming to a point. In the movie, it's just like the next day they meet or whatever, or whatever. It's just like, oh, and then I'm in love with you. That's why people are saying in the reviews that they don't believe in the romance. It's because it's just way too sudden, which it is. It's way too sudden. So that's a contention right there. If it's just like nextly, when Parzival is, spoiler, in the movie he's taken to the Resistance Force. Yeah, that we actually meet those people. Sure, Resistance Force. We barely see them. We don't talk to them, and we barely see anybody there. And when he gets there, he says, "The outside world, it's so slow here," and and all the stuff about, oh, you're not used to being outside, and it's like you were just outside like an hour before you were kidnapped / rescued by the rebels. How were you not, like, where does this come from? It's like, I think that's dialogue, which strangely enough they left in the film for when the scene where Parzival isolates himself and then has to flings himself back into the real world, to the outside world, in order to infiltrate IOI. Yeah, he does that. So I think that dialogue was supposed to meant when that part of the story was still in there, and then it was cut for time because that takes up a good chunk of the middle part of the movie. So taking that out, of course, shortens it, but then that dialogue makes no goddamn sense. So other than those couple of glaring omissions, yeah, it has a lot of 80s music. It has good action. Nolan Sorrento is a sleazeball, corporate guy. Okay, fine. You know, he's good enough. IROC is kind of, sort of good enough. They expanded on his character, not expanded on his character, but gave him a bit more of a role in the movie. So that's better than just one scene and one reference later in the book. So yeah, there's that. It's just so much stuff. But that kind of like, yeah, there we go. Hands free now. So instead of Holidays Journals is now a physical place rather than just a manifesto. I was never behind Artemis 100% in the book, and I'm less 100% behind her in the movie, even though they give her more of a motive. Was that, she befriends this guy, they have this kind of dates, they go to Distracted Globe, and it's like, oh wait, you like me? It's like, what were you expecting, Artemis? You are an awesome person with a guy who clearly idolizes you. You go out on dates, you have fantastic chemistry, and then during the most romantic night of your lives, he confesses feelings for you, and you act so damn surprised. Now, in the movie, that's just really, really shortened to basically later that week. That was it. They meet later that week. He confesses his feelings. So yeah, there was no build up to it, but honestly, it comes off as a far, far less warranted thing. And they said, well, Parsifal doesn't have motivation either. Since they gave her more motivation, they kept wondering what's his motivation. It's like, he's poor. And if something you excel at that can make you a lot of money, cough, cough, when you do it too, if the thing you like, if you're really good at, then anybody else on your block, it can make you money, you do it. So yeah, that's his motivation. Shocker on Shock Street. And so is everybody else's motivation on the Oasis. Editing on this is a little odd even for a movie, because certain scenes they say let's go, and then like the next scene it's like, and we're here with other people that were never established that they were invited into the party. So it is assumed that we, the audience, would know that the high five would be at all a high five group. But that was never stated. Any allegiance, they said, hey, Shoto and Daito, and we're all friends, and we're all part of a group. We're a mini clan. It's like, when did that happen? That was never established in the movie until at the end. He goes, yes, this must be the high five. That's the only time that was ever referenced in the movie. So, not showing them having their camaraderie or coming together, like, let's band together, to form this little mini group, which, by the way, was prompted in the original book, shot down by Shoto and kind of more by Artemis, and then later on was then reformed near the end, and then the big speech was sent out for the for the army to gather, which was not at some fortress on planet Doom, but at Anarch's castle on, I forget what it's called, E something, but yeah, on some sort of lush green fields, not a ice planet or ice desert wasteland. So yes, barring all those glaring things and editorials and swiping out this element for that, on its own, it is a good film. I watched it twice tonight, so yeah, that shows that yes, it is a darn good film on its own merit. But if you're a fan of the book, expecting to go in to see it to make a lot more sense, more, go along more with the book, it's not. Like, maybe 25% of it actually goes along with the book. The rest is just more made up for time and Hollywoodation of it. So, but other than that, yeah, I still recommend it on DVD if you're a nostalgia nut like me. So, that's it. That's it. So, take care, and as always, I will see you at the conventions. And oh, I dropped my ring. I had a ring. I had a soda pop ring I was holding in my hand. I was just screwing around with it 'cause I like to hold it during the second showing, and I accidentally dropped it. And you hear it just before the the Shining reference. You hear it fall, tink, 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 on the floor, all loud. I'm like, oh fuck! And I get down on my hands and knees trying to look for this darn thing. I go down to the other row behind. There's hardly anyone out there at that time, so the theater wasn't very full on either showing. And so after doing that, I finally found it, and I held it up like this, and I stood up. It's like, I found it, kind of all dramatically, like, I found it. Not standing all the way up, but like kneeling all the way up, so like people in the entire audience could see me when I go like this. It's like, I found it. I hold it up. But I didn't say I found it. I just held it up like victoriously, and I'm like, all right, people, and I sat back down. So I wonder how many people got a bit of a laugh out of that if they noticed me doing that at all. But yeah, it's the first time I ever really like ran, not stayed in my seat since since Leap and that Marley and Me movie. Yeah, worse the film, the harder it is for me to stay in my seat. Marley and Me, I was hanging out by the door to get out of there for like 30 minutes because I had to take someone to go see the movie. That was my job. So, yeah. That was my job. So, yeah. So there are some slight squirm factors, but on the whole, I highly recommend it. So, take care, and as always, see you at the movies.